Hey guys, Linda from Linda's Essential Science here. I'm going to hang for a little bit and see if anybody's going to pop on so that I can start this essential oils introduction class. I know there's a lot of you out there that often really want to come to a workshop. You're either not in the area or the times and so forth don't really work for you. Hi Brett. So I thought I'd jump on and actually do one. It's not the same as having you in my house or being with you, so you can actually smell the oils for yourself. However, if you do own the Home Essentials kit or some of doTERRA's oils, I'd please grab them. Go get them, have them near you so that you can smell them. This is a wonderful way of really getting a good start to understanding what it is that I'm doing and what it is that these essential oils can offer you, and hopefully learn a few little things if you do already have them that you could be utilising your oils for. Hey Miss Margaret, how are you? Alright, so I'm going to give a bit of a start and see how we go. Please feel free to ask questions along the way or chime in with comments. I'm still getting good at answering questions and talking at the same time, so we'll see how we go. Alright, so doTERRA. Why doTERRA? I think that's a really good way of starting because there's a lot of essential oils out there on the market at the moment. Heaps. And every month there seems to be a new company springing up claiming to be the greatest and the best. Now there's some really good companies out there, there's no doubt about that. But why do I picked doTERRA essential oils? Well, for starters, it was a bit of a journey of skepticism for me. I really started with a gorgeous girlfriend of mine who introduced me to the oils, and ever since I fell pregnant with my first child, my chemical sensitivity seemed to go through the roof, actually skyrocketed. And I wasn't able to be around perfumes or wear deodorants, or husband had to spray his deodorant outside. I got rid of a lot of chemicals, so I was in the process of getting as many chemicals out of my house as possible. And that's when Steph introduced me to these oils. And I was like, oh, sweet, I can have pretty smells in the house again without feeling ill. And that was the first thing I noticed about these oils is I'd open the bottle, I'd smell them, and I'd feel fantastic and feel fine. So that was really all I purchased them for. I thought, oh, I can clean with them, or maybe make some bug sprays and have pretty smells in my house with the diffuser, yay. And that was it. That's the only reason I really purchased them, that and to support her because she was really passionate. And then I started having these experiences, and the experiences I couldn't put down to just placebo because they were happening to my kids, they were happening to my husband, and they were happening around me in ways that I wasn't expecting. Now, I am very placebo-based. If I think something's going to work, it generally does. So I was pretty certain that it was going to be effective for me regardless. But when my very skeptical husband at the time, now complete convert, started to have these amazing experiences as well, like falling asleep after being chocked up and sinusy, getting over infections without having to go and get antibiotics when his mate or the entire exercise physiology department were out for weeks. Just constant things. And now, 2.5 years, nearly 3 years down the track, no doctor's visits, able to deal with things as they come along as needed. Now, I am not anti-medicine. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a physiotherapist. I am far from anti-medicine. I actually think medicine's amazing. However, I think it's overutilised in a lot of cases when we should just trust our bodies to deal with things. And it's very reactive. It's not very proactive, and unfortunately it's very symptom based. So instead of finding the cause for a lot of things, we're just treating simply the symptoms. So my job now moving forward with these oils is to teach people how to take care of their bodies when medicine isn't the answer, or if medicine's tried to be the answer and hasn't really been successful in helping somebody with alleviating or finding the cause of a problem. So I'm passionate with the essential oils from a health point of view because that's where I first found their power. But I use them now in every part of my life. In fact, I'm moving house at the moment, and I just cleared out the laundry cupboard, with all the cleaning stuff, and under the sink in the kitchen. And I literally have 4 things. And 3 of the 4 things haven't been opened, and I purchased probably 2.5 years ago. I make everything is essential oils now. I either make my own or I buy doTERRA's brand stuff, or I get it from Angela, who's with Essentially Audrey, and it works as well. There is zero chemicals. I don't feel like crap for days afterwards. And yeah, why wouldn't we be doing this? Anyway, so doTERRA, basically, the reason I love them is when I started to have these amazing effects, amazing things happen, I went straight to why. I wanted to understand why. I looked into the chemistry, I looked into the company, I looked into their testing of quality of their essential oils, where they source them from. I was really blown away with how the ethics behind the company. So the big thing with essential oils, I've used them forever, but I've never had the effects that I've had with these particular oils. I would certainly never put them topically on my skin unless I could guarantee where they were. I would never use them with my children unless I could guarantee the purity of the oil, and I certainly would not use them internally unless I could guarantee the purity of the oil. The only company I can do that with, and I've looked into a lot of them, there's a couple of decent ones out there, but still they're sourcing their oils from places where the plant isn't native. There's a big difference between purity and potency. So you can have a pure lavender. I could grow lavender out in my backyard and distill and get a pure oil. However, the potency of that oil may not be the same, or definitely wouldn't be the same as, say, where doTERRA sourced their lavender, which is actually in Bulgaria. Now that the climate is right, the soil is right, the plant is native to that area, and it gets a wonderful, wonderful chemical profile when you actually distill lavender from where it's meant to be distilled from. And doTERRA actually used to get their lavender from the French Alps, I think it was, but in the last few years they've changed their sourcing to Bulgaria because the product and the oil it produces is better. It's a better quality, it has a better chemical profile, and is more effective from a therapeutic point of view. So that's why I love doTERRA, is the purity, the potency, where they source them from. And just on that note as well, I'm a bit passionate about this. I'm about giving back to the world as much as we possibly can, trying to get rid of as much plastic out of my life, eat as many whole foods, buy local. I don't do as well as I'd like to, but I'm trying and I'm getting better. Hi, Lindsay. So I adore doTERRA because they give back. So with all the countries they source their oils from, there is a big percentage of them that are third world or impoverished nations. So, for instance, and I'll start with frankincense because it is my all-time favourite oil. We have a little saying, when in doubt, get Frankie out. And it is literally the king of oils. It is a beautiful, beautiful oil, sourced from Somalia. And now if you think about an essential oil, what it does in a plant, its function is protection or assistance with fertility. So it's essential to the plant's life. It's not the life force or the life essence, but it's essential to the plant's life. It provides protection against bugs and parasites and bacteria and fungi. It helps attract bees and things to the plant so that pollination can occur. It's essential. So in Somalia, where frankincense thrives in that arid desert, the way they get frankincense from the frankincense trees, they actually score the tree very carefully with a blade, and then over time the tree bleeds and creates this pus or resin which hardens into this resin, and they chip that off. So it's literally what's healing the tree is what they distill the frankincense from. So distillation of a tree, distillation of a plant, of any part of a plant, just means that they create pressure and steam, and they push the water molecules of the steam, push the essential oil out of the plant matter. There's so many different ways, and I could go on and on and on about it, but I think as long as you understand that it's distilled directly from the plant using steam and pressure. There are a few oils, our citrus oils are cold pressed, so there's no heat involved, but they come from the peel, so it's much easier to get it out of the peel. Lemon is beautiful. You know, if you pick a lemon off a tree, frankincense. If you pick a lemon off a tree, you actually, and you rub the skin really, really hard, you're going to get this nice oily residue on your fingers, and that's actually the essential oil, and it's the protection for the fruit inside. So it's a wonderful cleansing sort of oil, fantastic to cleanse anything. So it cleanses our body, helps to detoxify the liver. I hate that word, but it's understood by a lot of people, so we'll go with it. It just really helps to cleanse the system. We know you drink lemon water in the mornings. You can just replace it with a single drop of this. These things are 50 to 70% more potent than the plant itself. So you really need, less is more, you need a teeny bit. Peppermint, which is my beautiful peppermint, they say it's about 28 tea bags to 1 drop of peppermint. So that's a lot of bang for your buck. So you don't need a lot to actually have a fantastic effect. I'll get back to peppermint in a tick. Back onto lemon. Lemon being a citrus oil. Like I said, super cleansing, so really wonderful for anything cleaning as well. So it's cleansing to our environment, beautiful and cleansing to the air. It helps with focus, so fantastic to diffuse with something like peppermint in the afternoon when you need that kind of mid-afternoon pick-me-up. Instead of grabbing your coffee, or maybe grab your coffee, grab peppermint and lemon as well and diffuse that, or wear that for a little bit. Helps to improve focus. Great for kids when they're studying something in the background like that. Diffusing that in the background is beautiful to help that when they're studying, to get their focus back on track. Lemon, gorgeous for that. I put it in all of my cleaning products. I don't make a lot. I wish I made more. But when I do make, it goes into my dishwashing powders. It goes into my laundry stuff. It's in all of my cleaning surface sprays. Fantastic, fantastic oil. You've got to be a little bit careful if you're putting it on your skin. I combine this with Frankie Boy with some fractionated coconut oil, which I'll talk about in a tick, and put it on my face at night time. But if you're putting it on your skin, you need to be careful if you're going into the sun, because it's actually photosensitive. Now, because it's cleansing and it's clearing of toxins, it actually can degrade plastic. So if you put it with water in your plastic drink bottle, it's going to start to degrade the petrochemicals and dissolve them down. So you'll start to be drinking the chemicals if you do that. So I learnt that the hard way. Ruined a drink bottle, wondered why the water tasted weird. Not a good idea. But I now only put them in glass or stainless steel. Works quite fine. And yes, oil and water don't mix. However, these are technically not oil as such. They dissolve and beautifully within an oil. However, they're not like water. They will sit on the top. So if you get it in your drink bottle, I'm just going to have one here, you just give it a really good shake before you drink it. If you're putting it in a glass, put it 1 drop in the bottom of the glass, pour the water in hard so it emulsifies through it's not going to emulsify, but it sort of mixes up through the water itself. And then if you're going to sit it there for 10 minutes, it's going to come back to the surface. So you either need to give it a stir or give it a shake, or pour a little bit more water in to mix it up again. Just be aware of that, especially if you're using more of the hot or pretty strong oils like a peppermint. That you'll feel that on your lips if you're not careful. So lemon. If anyone's got any other things that they love using lemon for, feel free to chuck it in the comments. But I use it for my skin, for cleansing at nighttime. I use it in my water in the mornings to start the day. Great for that liver support. Really good if you've got excess fluid. If you're traveling on a plane, pop a bit in your water bottle on the plane. Really helps to stop that fluid build up in your legs as well. Kickstart your liver and your kidneys in the morning. Great for urinary tract system. Great to support all things cleansing. Fantastic for cleaning products. I could go on and on about beautiful lemon, and because it's citrus and it's cold pressed, it's super cheap. It's like $13 or something for this little bottle wholesale, and you get about 200 to 250 drops per bottle, per 15ml bottle, which is amazing value for money. So one of these, I use a heap of it, and I still would get at least 3 months out of this. So wonderful, wonderful oil. Good question with these oils too is, do they go off? Well, yeah, they do, because they're going to be, as soon as you open the lid, you're combining it with air, you're going to get oxidation over time. And actually, I should grab you my myrrh bottle, if I can find myrrh very quickly. You should see what it looks like, because it started to oxidize, and myrrh is the only one that does this, by the way, but it's quite, just because it is this particular resin, it reacts with the oxygen really significantly, and it starts to create this really funky, and it's so hard to open the bottle when it's been sitting there for a little while, and you can see the lid. No, myrrh's not something I would suggest you start out with. It's a little bit more complex in its uses. However, that's a really good C, and I've had this bottle for probably 2 years now. So the oil itself is still fine, but it will oxidize. Something like lemon, you'll get about 2 years out of, provided you keep it in decent temperature and in the glass. the dark amber glass. If you're putting it in your car and it's getting hot and cold and hot and cold, it's going to go and oxidize a lot faster than if you take care of it. So I always suggest putting your oils, especially citrus oils, in the fridge on one of those 35-degree plus days. You really want to keep them under that kind of 30-degree mark. Or like wine, you want to keep them safe like wine. You wouldn't chuck your best wine on top of in the car and leave it there for days. You wouldn't put any of your essential oils in the car and leave it there for days either. Yes, and it's crazy, isn't it? Oh yes, Deb and lemon. She loves lemon. Put it on your broom to clean spider webs and it deters them. I love it. I love it. Yes, great for the buggies. They don't like lemon or peppermint, which is awesome. Ants hate peppermint too, which has been awesome for me because ants seem to love my house. So once you find where they're coming in, a couple of drops of peppermint, don't see them through that hole again. They seem to find another hole though. Okay, so lemon, wonderful. So yes, they will oxidize, they will go off over time, and you'll know they'll have a twang to them, a certain scent that says they're not any good. And you know, our noses are fantastic. You'll be able to tell. So if you have let's just say an adulterated essential oil, which majority of the ones on the market in Australia that you can buy over the shelf are. If you have an adulterated essential oil, which means that it's been diluted with a filler of some description, or they've got synthetic compounds in there that are trying to make it look like a particular thing, you'll know. You smell that other lavender that you bought from the supermarket and you smell a doTERRA lavender and it is different. I hated lavender, didn't like tea tree either, because I used to use a particular brand. I won't go into it, because I knew they were meant to be really good but never did anything, and I never really enjoyed the smell. But the lavender of doTERRA's lavender, it's deep, it's earthy, it's just delicious, and it is so calming. Instantly you feel better when you smell it. But what is it doing when you smell an oil? Like, why does it work? Well, this is something that I looked really into because I couldn't understand why I was getting such insane effects from just simply diffusing something in the background. What we have inside our nostrils is these little receptors. So you breathe a scent in. What you're breathing in is actual molecules. And they're so teeny and tiny, they evaporate into the air. These things are called volatile aromatic compounds, which means you take the lid off and they evaporate, they start to evaporate. Even if I put a drop of frankincense, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but if I put a drop of frankincense on my hand, I don't know if you'll see it, you can see it there, yeah, looks like an oil. If you just watch it, I'll bring it back, I won't rub it or anything like that, I'll just bring it back in the next couple of minutes and you'll see that it's evaporated into the air. Beautiful. I'm just going to enjoy smelling that one. Funky scent, a lot of people don't like it. I've got a relationship with Frankie. Something about that in me, it's my oil. I'm not going to be able to stop smelling it. What were we talking about now? Yes, so olfactory nerve receptors. So what you do is you breathe these molecules in and they're teeny, teeny, tiny. They actually get uptaken, so they dissolve into the mucous membrane and they get taken up by these little olfactory nerve receptors, which actually amplify the signal into this thing called the olfactory bulb. And that olfactory bulb sends it straight to this system, which is right in the middle of our brain, called the limbic system. And the limbic system is our emotional control center. It is also the control center of a lot of other really important body processes. It helps with hormones, helps with so many things in there. It is the link to our long-term memory as well. So you know when you're walking down the street and you smell something and you're, oh my God, I'm 12 again. It has this insanely quick way of taking us back to a memory or a time, and that I love that. So being the emotional control center, you can affect change really fast. And I was still can't believe I posted it a video up earlier it was last week, I don't even know when it was anymore, of an early panic attack that I was having. It was on the verge, and I wanted to video it for my own self. I wanted to see what was going to happen, because normally I sort of have a bit of a blackout, a blank kind of, I don't remember it. It's like my body just shuts down a little bit afterwards and I can't really remember it. So I wanted to video it for myself, so that's why I actually videoed it. I didn't video it with any intention of posting it up. And I grabbed my frankincense and I grabbed my balance and I placed the frankincense under my tongue and I smelt it and I placed the balance on my hands, and I used it as a diffuser and inhaled it. You can see Frankie's gone. Quick. I inhaled it, and I could feel the changes happening. It was one of the most intensely aware experiences, and I honestly feel really embarrassed saying this, but this is the first time that I went to my oils as I was spiraling. Other times I either have been too out of my head to be able to even get to them, or I've been in a situation where they haven't been available to me. And that was the first time, and I've only had maybe 4 panic attacks in my whole life, and they've all been in the last 2 years. But this one was amazing to feel what happened. And if anyone watched it all the way through, there was a moment where it just went and it just disappeared. And it was like 7 minutes. And that for me was so intense. And what that means is my limbic system was being supported. So instead of being alone through that, I was supported through that. And it felt so empowering. I couldn't not post it. It was just something that I had to post. I had to get it out there, because I think it's so powerful to see women who people think have it all together all the time. And we do really well, but it's not all together all the time. And things can get overwhelming. Good things can get overwhelming. And I think that was a really beautiful way of showing how powerful just simple aromatic use of the oils can be. So yes, limbic system hits the middle of our brain as fast as an intravenous injection. Wow. Anyway, why don't we use these more? Powerful stuff. Okay, the next oil I'm going to talk about is my beautiful peppermint, because I used this the other day. And this was also really, really gorgeous. My wonderful mother-in-law, who is one of the biggest rocks in my life. I don't know what I'd do without her. And if you ever watch this, I love you. She was looking after my little boy the other day, and so I could pack, bless her. That was yesterday, God. And she got home and she said, what's Ange just said? And your frontal lobe came back online because your limbic system was no longer hijacked. I love that. Listen, if you're not on Angela's page, get on it. Essentially Audrey, she's amazing, wealth of knowledge, and such incredibly generous with all her knowledge and her gifts. She's insane. Get on her page, Essentially Audrey. Post a link up, Angela. So peppermint. So she comes home and she says to me, she brings Eddie back. She's like, look, he was really hot before he went to bed. I think he might be brewing something. He woke up from his sleep. He slept really well. He was really hot still. So I had some peppermint and I had some On Guard. I'll talk about On Guard in a hit. And so Claire mixed up me some stuff, and we put it on his neck and his spine, and got some On Guard on his feet. And he seems really okay now. And I was like, wow. Now, Annie's amazing, and she's so open to anything, but she's a nurse. Like, she's a Panadol Nurofen chick. So for her to go down that pathway, one, knowing that was really important to me, but two, to really give it a crack and to see the difference was beautiful. So peppermint is so cooling. It is an amazingly beautiful oil for when you're hot. So it's great to help to support if you are feverish. I generally do my own little experiments on my kids, take their temperature, put peppermint on, retake their temperature, and I know I get personally about a 0.5 to 0.7 degree decrease. I know and a couple of my beautifuls, Casey has had a bigger decrease than that. She's got a beautiful photo, I remember, of her taking that. So peppermint is wonderful for cooling. Bottoms of the feet, although Casey would suggest not, because she's a cold person. Bottoms of the feet, she was freezing. I'm not a cold person, so that works really well for me in summer. Peppermint's also incredible for things like when you're feeling a bit nauseous or a bit funky in the car, that type of thing, really great for that. I also use it with head tension, neck tension. For me, peppermint is my go-to for anything regarding that. If I'm feeling a bit in the head, I will rub it just along the hairline. You've got to be careful not to get it on the temples, because it's so powerful, the vapours, that it will really irritate your eyes. So I rub it along the hairline all the way down and quite heavily all across the back of my neck if I'm feeling a bit funky with it, with all that sort of stuff. Love it. Love. Wonderful in a cup of tea. You don't need a whole drop unless you want your head blown off. Just grab a little toothpick, pop it in the bottle, swirl it in your hot water. Wonderful. Goes really well for a mid-afternoon pick-me-up with any of the citrus oils. wild orange is my favourite to put with peppermint, and I diffuse that a lot at night, or not at night, in the afternoon. Wonderful, wonderful oil. We talk about diffusing oils. There's 3 ways of using essential oils. We can either diffuse them, and I'll just try to show you the diffuser bubbling away there. I'm not going to try and show you any more of my house because it is full of boxes and chaos, but it's okay. The diffuser is actually really cool. So I'll just do that again, back to the diffuser. If you see, I'll take the lid off, and you can see it's sort of bubbling. It actually just uses ultrasounds to sort of agitate the water, to vibrate the water molecules, which creates a vapour, and that kind of grabs the essential oil, because the essential oils are smaller than the water molecules, and brings it into the air and into a fine vapour. It doesn't get the windows, it's not hot, it's safe for the kids, it doesn't make the windows all steamy or moist, so it's fine for mould or damp or anything along those lines as well. Wonderful little system here. There's a lot of different diffusers out there, and they're all fine. I love the doTERRA one because I don't know, I just love it. I've got 5 of them. Probably should stop buying diffusers. Okay, so we've talked about those ones. So back to peppermint. Anything else anyone wants to add on for peppermint? Great for ants, ant deterrent. Great for cockroaches. They don't like it either. What else do I use it with? Just a general spray for the air. Chuck it in some water and give it a spray around. Can't think of anything else at the moment. Yeah, anything tummy, nauseous, wrists to smell if you're on the plane, that type of thing. Fantastic for all of those. Oh, wonderful to cook with. Makes an absolutely delicious chocolate. If you're looking for raw foods and bliss balls and things like that, wonderful to add in to any kind of choc mint type recipe. Yes, protein balls. Thanks, Joanna. The oil that changed me, the oil that turned me and wanted me to learn more. I've watched over 16 hours of organic chemistry lectures because of this oil. This is when my husband came home a couple of months after we'd had the oils. I'd opened a couple, was diffusing a few, but I wasn't really using them. And he came home with the beginnings of a sinus infection. And look, he's wonderful, and he's an amazing hungover person. I'm a shocking hungover person. Used to be, till I had the oils. That's another story. But he came home with a sinus infection, and he's a shocker when he's sick. It's like end of life stuff. I was like, oh my God, I'm not sleeping tonight. So I grabbed the diffuser from the lounge room and dragged it upstairs. This is when I only had one diffuser. I popped it on with a few drops of easy air, popped it by his bed. Had already made up a bed on the couch actually to sleep in, because I knew he was just going to be snuffling and gross all night. And within about 10 minutes, he was asleep and he was quiet. And there started my first, looked at the diffuser, looked at him, and just went, coincidence, and went to sleep. Now, these diffusers with doTERRA, you can set for 1, 2, or 4 hours. I set it for 4 hours, literally 4 to 4.5 hours after I'd set it, so just after it had gone off, I woke up to him snuffling and gross. And I'm like, no. So this is 2:30 or something in the morning. I've got 2 kids and pregnant at this stage, and I'm like, this isn't. I got up, whinging that I was getting up, to him, still asleep, mind you, put it in, put some more on, turned it back on again. And then my very sceptical mind watched him, and he was still asleep, mind you, at this stage, so there was no placebo, and he got quieter and quieter, and over the space of 10 minutes, he was quiet again. And I'm like, okay, what? What? That was it. That for me was like, I was ready to learn something new. Love my physio, but I kind of couldn't be bothered studying that anymore, and I needed something new in my life, and it was the perfect time to delve into this. And then the more I delved, the more I found out, and the more I wanted to know. And then I realised that everyone should be using these, and I want to shout it from the rooftop, and then 2 years later, here I am, shouting it from the rooftop. So Easy Air, it's their respiratory blend, so it supports anything to do with your breathing, your lungs. Absolutely wonderful for focus as well. And there's some really cool studies with some of the ingredients that are in this particular blend. It's got peppermint, it's got rosemary, it's got tea tree, it's got lemon. What else has it got in it? eucalyptus, of course, cardamom, some cinnamon in there. These oils are all beautiful to support the respiratory system. They're very calming to it. They help to expectorate, so loosen up some of the mucus in there as well. Fantastic, I've found, for coughs. Diffusing doesn't seem to be enough for coughs. For my family, I tend to rub it onto the chest. Angela actually makes, with Essentially Audrey, makes this really great chest balm with a lot of the ingredients of Easy Air in it, and it works beautifully as well for those sorts of coughs and bits and pieces. Just great to support you if you're feeling a bit coldy, which we all do. And we're coming into, summer's finished, we're now into autumn officially. So this is when we start to notice those things. Great for those seasonal threats, seasonal changes, when you're feeling a bit funky with what's happening outside. Great to support you with that as well. Diffuse it, rub it on your chest. Amazing, amazing oil. So yeah, I thank you, Mr. Easy Air, for being the reason I'm now doing what I'm doing. Okay. On to tea tree. We'll do the immune support ones now. So tea tree, my mum was always very, very healthy, and we used a lot of tea tree at home for cuts and bits and pieces. And look, it was fine. I used it. I never really found insanely wonderful results, but I didn't hate it. Didn't really like the smell, so forth, so on. And because doTERRA source all of their oils natively from the countries they're native to, this is sourced from Australia. Pretty cool. It's so clean. So again, if you've got a tea tree from the supermarket or the you call it health food shop, grab it, smell doTERRA's. Tell me you can't smell the difference, because I certainly can. So Melaleuca, as it's known in the States, so cleansing, so wonderful. This goes hand in hand, and this is a fantastic little story. I love this sciencey stuff. Oregano is another insane oil that sat on my shelf for like 6 months because I had no idea what the hell I would ever use oregano for. I just bought, before I bought the oils, an enormous thing of oregano, dried oregano, so I was like, what am I ever going to use oregano for? And then I found this study about a beautiful compound called carvacrol. One of the most devastating problems we have in modern medicine at the moment is that we've run out of antibiotics. We don't have the capabilities of making any more. They're now trying to combine them together to try and get an effective antibiotic against some of these superbugs that are out there. But we literally don't have any more that we can make. So any more types that we can make. So, people are dying from stuff they shouldn't be dying from because we have ruined our ability to use antibiotics in a lot of cases. And that's just because of decades of poor use, over prescription. These bugs get a chance to become resistant, and these bugs are amazing at it. Like, they're so fascinating. They are amazing at developing resistance and altering their own biology so that they can stay within our system. So they're insanely good at it. Now, one of the ways they do this, there's a few ways, but one of the ways is they create this biofilm around them, around the outside of them, to protect them. So our bodies are really good at getting rid of nasties, yeah? But the problem with that is when they cloak themselves in this cloaking device, our body can't recognize them as needing to be killed, eaten, whatever. So with this biofilm around them, they're able to proliferate, and our bodies don't know how to deal with it. Same with the antibiotics. So if the antibiotic can't bind to this particular cell receptor site on that bacteria, it can't get in there to create cell death. They pierce it, creates lysis, which means just basically cell death. All the contents of the bacteria cells spew out and get eaten up by our bodies, and it's all very cool. But they can't do that if they can't get to that cell receptor site. So oregano has this component in it called carvacrol, which has the ability to bind to these bacteria cell receptor sites and pierce it and create cell lysis. Can't get to it. What does tea tree do? Tea tree actually modifies the biofilm. It's like sloughs it off so that carvacrol can get in there. How cool is that? That's been proven in Petri dish time and time again. Like, wow. Now, beforehand, I would only ever use On Guard for my anything immune based. So respiratory, easier, On Guard for anything if I was feeling gross, bottom of the feet, back of the spine. After time, I felt confident enough I would gargle with it if I had soreness and raspy throat. I put it in my mouthwash. I would pop it on fungal infections. It's great. It's got clove in it. It's awesome for mold and fungus and stuff. Why did we say no, Angela? I'm confused. Explain. I love oregano. Oregano is the best. So beforehand, I would only ever use On Guard as my only immune blend. So now I combine it always equal parts tea tree and oregano as well. And I've found that to be one of the most effective assistants in supporting my body if there's anything kind of buggy going around. I rub it on my stomach. If there's gastro nearby, I will take it internally if I'm feeling really gross. And you know when you get that, it aches and you're feeling like something's on the way, I'll just take 2 drops of each of those internally in a vegetable capsule. You can buy veggie capsules from pretty much any health food shop, but they look like this. You just can open them up, and if you've got a really good eye, you can drop them in there. You can actually get these really cool, where did I put it? Yeah, there it is. You can get these really cool little things. I think it's been 3D printed. It's pretty funky, hey? And that way you can actually pop it in something and have a bunch of them sitting there and do a few. You can't make them in advance unless you chuck them in the freezer because they will dissolve over time. So you need to sort of be aware that if you're taking it in a vegetable capsule, you need to sort of take it pretty soon. I tried to do that. Failed miserably many times. So now I know you've got to freeze them if you're going to do that, or do them really quickly. So you do that because those oils that I'm talking about, the On Guard and the oregano especially, are really caustic. They're really hot oils. So if you're going to swallow them, you're going to feel them in your esophagus. Now, it's not going to be too damaging to your esophagus because our esophagus is actually covered in a beautiful mucosal membrane. So even if you do feel it, it recovers and heals itself really quickly. But it's not very comfortable. So I'd suggest you take it. Once it gets down into the stomach acids, it's going to dissolve well enough. If you're somebody who gets a bit of refluxy stuff, always pop a couple of drops of fractionated coconut oil in as well, and that will just help to dilute it down a little bit. Fantastic, fantastic. This one is fractionated coconut oil. I've mentioned it a few times now. We dilute oils when we apply them topically, majority of the time. Firstly, because you saw what happened with Frankie, never rubbed it in, but it just completely disappeared off my hand. Now, if I diluted that 1 drop fractionated coconut oil, 1 drop frankincense, that would still be on my skin. So it prolongs the amount of time that you get. It holds the oil in onto the skin so it can absorb in over a longer period of time. You will lose between 80 to 85% of the oil to evaporation if you don't dilute. So it's actually more cost effective to dilute. You'll get more out of your bottle of oil. Like I said, in a 10ml bottle, I need a drink. Should have bought a drink. In a 10ml bottle of roller bottle, which looks something like this, I would put in about 20-25 drops. There's a lot of different ideas on dilution. I'm not going to go into that now. If you do order oils and you want to know more about that, I'll send you a lot more information about it, and we'll talk about it when we catch up. But the big thing with the dilution is you get a lot more out of it. So if you were putting, say, a drop of frankincense, and I know Emma was doing this, in your hand and rubbing it all over your face every night, you're going to go through that a lot faster than if you pop it and dilute it down. So it's going to be no less effective, provided your dilution level's okay, but you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck out of the oil. Yeah, On Guard is an amazing cleaner as well. Sorry, I'm cutting. I'll go back to fractionated coconut oil. Come back to that one. So, fractionated coconut oil is cooking coconut oil, basically. Good organic cooking coconut oil. You know how it goes solid at room temperature? Room temperature in Melbourne most of the time. If it's over, I think it's 32 degrees, 27 degrees. I can't remember. And do you know what temperature that cooking coconut oil becomes liquid? I can't remember. So what they've done is they've actually put it through this really gentle heating process, which it's a bit like making ghee. If you've ever made ghee from butter, it just separates these medium chain triglycerides from the long chain fatty acids. All it means is that you're left with these MCTs, medium chain triglycerides. That means it's odorless, it's colourless, it's tasteless, it's liquid at room temperature. It's the perfect molecular weight where it absorbs into the skin but not too fast and doesn't sit on top of the skin either. So it's not the best massage oil. So if you're looking for a massage oil, you'd use something like a sweet almond or something like that. What else? Other massage oils would people use? Even olive oil, because it's going to sit on top of the skin for a lot longer. 25 degrees. Thank you, guys. It just never seems to get like that in Melbourne. So this is, and as you can see, it does absorb in really nicely, but it's the perfect dilution because there's no smell. So even things like jojoba, whatever it's called, has a certain smell to it. All the nut oils have a certain smell to it. So they will interfere a little bit with the aromatic profile, and that's why I adore fractionated coconut oil. It's also got a really good antibacterial property to it itself, just like the cooking stuff does. So it's quite handy if you are looking to apply it to your skin and bits and pieces as well. So yes, that's why we use fractionated coconut oil. I will use tea tree on my skin as well, blemishes, bits and pieces. If there's a cut, kids scrape their knee, I'll chuck an oil called helichrysum because it's wonderful for its coagulant properties. However, I will always then follow it up with a drop of tea tree and a drop of lavender, as lavender is soothing and calming for pretty much everything. I'll go into that one in a tick. So tea tree, wonderful for skin. It can be applied neat, especially if it's like a cut sort of form. It's great for that. Wonderful support with oregano, beautiful oregano. All things fungal, all things gross, all things yet nasty. Oregano is amazing. That's why I think they say to plant oregano around your stuff because it gets rid of things. Any gardeners out there, tell me I'm wrong, it's fine. On Guard, I clean with it, wonderful for mould. You can make a really easy On Guard cleaner with a bit of vinegar. I put some lemon oil and the On Guard, give it a shake with some distilled water and spray that on your grout or your mould in the bathroom. Phenomenal. Lavender. Lavender. Calming, soothing. It's like a sedative to my daughter. Insane, beautiful oil for her. It really helps her go to sleep. I actually, when I was pregnant with Eddie, I would lay with her to go to sleep, and if I put lavender on her feet and the back of her neck, she would go to sleep within 5 to 10 minutes. If I didn't, it would be consistently 15 to 25 minutes. I'm like, that's significant enough for me to get out of bed 30 odd weeks pregnant, grab the lavender, put it back on her when I climbed in bed and realised I forgot to put it on her feet. So amazing, beautiful for skin, absolutely gorgeous for skin. I combine that with the the On Guard and the tea tree, and that's a beautiful bug off spray, really good for nits as well. I usually use just straight clove because clove is in the On Guard. I'm happy to use it with On Guard as well. Makes a great nit spray, nit preventative, wonderful to clear out the mozzies. I add it with lemongrass because lemongrass is amazing for that as well. But the lavender is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It combines with everything. So if you're feeling anxious, it's a wonderful one to combine with anything citrus. Citrus-based stuff is so gorgeous for anything anxiety-based, depression-based. There's a lot of research behind a lot of citrus oils to show how effective they are at helping to calm our limbic system down and get us back on track again. Stop it, as Anne said, hijacking our frontal lobe. I love that. So it's in a lot of my calm blends. I put it on my face in the morning if I need something on my face because it's not photosensitive. I will actually take it internally if I am hormonal. Wonderful oil to take internally. A couple of drops in a vegetable capsule calms me down. Beautiful. I take it with another oil called Clary Sage, which is an also amazing hormonal support. Helps me with all of those PMS sort of symptoms at that time of the month. So love lavender. Smelling it out of the bottle, even just by itself, is incredible. Digescen is probably one of the oils that I use the most every day. And the reason I adore Digescen is it's because it's a gastrointestinal support. Now, if you haven't read Dr. Libby Weaver's book, Rushing Women's Syndrome, read it, because I'm not going to go into the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems right now. That's a whole nother Facebook Live for another day. But as we know that when we are in our fight and flight response system, our blood runs away from our digestive tract into our peripheries, and it leaves our body, our digestive system, sluggish. So many people have gastrointestinal issues. There's Crohn's disease, there's IBS, there's just bloating, there's so many intolerances and issues out there that most of it comes from, well, it comes from a lot of things, but a lot of it can come from just our everyday environment of what we're dealing with, what we're eating, what we're stressing about. So DigestSense supports me. I had a big issue a while back where I had to have a whole stack of IV antibiotics after I had a post-op infection, and it kind of stuffed up my digestive system. I became fructose intolerant. I couldn't eat anything. It was horrid, and I was determined to fix my gut because I knew that I hadn't been like this forever, and this wasn't I wasn't just going to take this lying down that I was never going to eat fructose again. Bullshit. I could eat fructose for 33 years. I'm going to eat fructose again. So I fixed my gut. I cut out all the things that were pissing it off. And for me, it turned out to be grains. Grains are not my friend. And as soon as I did that, increased my healthy fats, took a whole stack of different types of probiotics, I got things back on track. Still a few things I can't eat, and there's still stuff I know I shouldn't eat, but I eat it anyway. Because you do. And DigestSense saves me. So I take that if I'm feeling gross, if I'm bloated, if I know I've overeaten and indulged, if I've had too much of anything, if I'm traveling and I feel crap in a plane or a car, DigestSense saves me every time. It is I can't leave home without it. The kids have it diluted in a roller bottle and then roll it on their stomachs. If they're in the car, they'll actually say to me, "Mum, my tummy's sore." I'm like, "Do you want to DigestSense?" "Yes." Give it over, and they're rolling it on their stomach in the car. Clockwise on the belly, give it a gentle rub. You feel the changes. They are amazing. And the last oil in the Home Essentials kit, because I've gone through 9 of them, the 10th oil in the Home Essentials kit, which is the kit that we suggest people get, is Ice Blue. I don't know if you can even see that. But Ice Blue is their athletic blend, so it's wonderful for any muscle tension. It's the only one you can't take internally because it has a childproof lock on it. It's a good way of knowing. They will also write on the bottles, not for internal use, or it'll say something along the lines of, for instance, lemon will say for flavouring use, dilute 1 drop in food, blah, 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 blah. Lemon is excellent to cook with too. Makes really great lemon bliss balls or lemon cheesecake balls and things like that. Ice Blue, wonderful for tension. I put it all across the backs of my upper traps through here. And I'll always rub it along the back of my back if I'm having a bit of a backy day. Absolute amazeballs. Yes, Raylene, amazeballs. I adore this oil. It's empty. So I've just ordered some more. There's a teeny tiny little bit left. So I'm ordered some more, and I'm very excited to be getting some more because I need it in my life. So they're the 10 oils of the Home Essentials kit. Amazing, amazing oils. So there's a few ways of getting the oils into your life. I can go into it forever, but I'm going to be as briefly and as quickly as I can because I know this is the part people don't really want to hear, but it's amazing because you can get them at the same price I get them by just getting a wholesale account. So you can pay $35 and then you can get all the oils at wholesale price for a year. Perfect, easy. It's a bit like Costco membership. You pay your yearly fee, then you get access to all the prices that anyone else who has a wholesale account gets access to them. Or you can do that, pay $35 and order whichever oils you want. Or doTERRA waive the enrolment fee if you enroll with one of the kits. Now, the kit that I've been talking about tonight is the Home Essentials kit. It's $330. You get the 10 oils and a diffuser and the enrolment package put in there. You save a fortune. So even if you were to buy all of them wholesale, you save over $140, and that doesn't include the $35 enrolment kit. When you look at frankincense, that's $95, I think now, $90 to $95 by itself. So for not a lot extra, you're getting 9 other oils plus the diffuser. And if you do enroll with me, I give you 3 roller bottles and a bottle of wild orange to get you started as well. And it's a requirement that you get to come and see me within a few weeks of getting your kit as well, or we do this online ourselves so that I can teach you the blends you need to start with, and I also email you a whole stack of information. There's some great resources. This is called the Modern Essentials book. You can actually, it's about $40. This is an older edition. I need to get the new one. But you can pay, I think it's $11, and get an app on your phone which has all of this information in there, and you're carrying around with you whenever you need. I went to that, thanks Lou. I went to that app probably daily for 6 months when I started to really get into the oils, and now it's all in here because I just am obsessed. So if you do want to grab a kit, if you do want to jump on and get yourself a wholesale account, let me know. It is a business for me, so please come through me if you've been inspired at any stage, and know that you'll be supported along your journey. I always love the questions. Oh, my mother-in-law's on. Hello, beautiful Anne. You'll have to listen to the earlier stuff. I gave you a big plug. Mwah. The app is amazing. I use it. I used to use it all the time. Like I said, it's now in here, but it is well worth the $11. If you're not going to get this for all the sciencey stuff that's in there, definitely get that app. But you get me, you get my beautiful team, and there's a huge community out there that's really looking to change the world sort of one drop at a time. We're all ready for the change. Not that we're disillusioned with medicine, because like I said, I love medicine, but I think it's really nice to be able to support our systems and try something natural that nature's created before we jump into the modern medicine side of things and whatever else goes with that. So thank you guys. If there are any questions, I will keep looking back onto this feed, so ask away. Feel free to promote my page and my group as well. I'll be running a competition in a tick. And let me know if you're interested in a kit, and I'll see you again sometime soon. Thanks for watching, guys.